What's up, everybody? Welcome back to the channel. I'm elated right now. I'm so happy. I don't know if you could tell my face is kind of red. That's because I spent all day out in the freaking sun caulking windows, folks. I'm kind of sunburnt a little bit, but hey, it is what it is. That's my job. That's what I do for a living. But I'm elated right now because the left, they're getting their wish. As a matter of fact, they are definitely getting their wish. They begged, they screamed, they jumped from the rooftops. No, they yelled from the rooftops about this issue, and now they are getting exactly what they wanted. Check this out, y'all. U.S. charges Kilmar Abrego Garcia with transporting people who were in the country illegally. What does that mean, folks? They changed up the headline to make it sound different, but the main headline is Kilmar Abrego Garcia is now going to be returning to the United States to face human trafficking charges. That is right, folks. And I'm loving every single minute of it. And I told you guys, this story was not going to go away for a very, very long time. And like I said, I don't know, I could see the writing on the wall, the way the left was gnashing their teeth consistently on this issue right here. And this is one of those issues where they don't realize their own folly with getting on the side of MS-13 gang members just so they can have a chance to poke at the Trump administration over something, right? Like, oops, we didn't give the guy an interview, so now the entire Democratic apparatus, which includes the corporate press, they go into this long diatribe about a Maryland man mistakenly deported to El Salvador. And it's like, what, you guys are just blatantly lying at this point. Let's get into this thing, because I'm loving this, folks, if you can't tell. Check it, though. Kilmar Abrego Garcia, whose mistaken deportation to El Salvador became a political flashpoint in the Trump administration's stepped-up immigration enforcement, was being returned to the United States to face criminal charges related to what the Trump administration said was a massive human smuggling operation that brought immigrants into the country illegally. And yes, that was one long sentence. That was a lie. They start the article off with a lie. There was no mistaken deportation. Once again, they never mentioned this guy had final orders of deportation. His CIS interview did not take place. That's the administrative error. There was no mistaken deportation. They didn't accidentally deport this guy. They intentionally deported this guy. But people don't know that. They listen to the corporate press, and the corporate press, they take an administrative error. Get this. This is how they fool you. This is how they manipulate you guys. The administration says, we forgot to give him a CIS interview. It was an error on our part. So what do? They take that and they twist it around. Oh, he was mistakenly deported. That's right. How do you derive that? The only way you could derive mistaken deportation with, oh, we forgot to give an interview, is if you're wanting to manipulate the crap out of everybody to make Republicans look bad and make Democrats, let's not even mention Democrats because they're just in total collapse mode right now, and they're not coming out of collapse mode anytime soon, it seems like, because they're just going off the freaking rails. They're in a cult, folks. But hey, it is what it is when you have members of a political party that are acting like cultists. Things can get weird. We'll just say that. He is expected to be prosecuted in the U.S. and, if convicted, will be returned to his home country in El Salvador at the conclusion of the case, officials said Friday. I'm loving that. Yes, send him right back. Once again, like I said, and I've been saying every time we've covered Mr. Kilmar Abrego Garcia, that even if he were to be returned, if the Trump administration were to graciously facilitate his return to the United States, he would be immediately deported back home. Now, what I find so fascinating about this, and this isn't my original idea, but it's a good way to phrase this, is, why is the left so mad about this? If there's any Democrats out there that are on the side of Kilmar Abrego Garcia and think he was mistakenly deported, despite the facts that were just laid out in front of you guys, if, you're on the side of this guy, what is so wrong with somebody breaking into your house and then you offering them a ride home. I mean, that's what the Trump administration is doing. These people broke into our country. They came here illegally, whether it was through the southern border or they overstayed a visa, whatever that may be. They're no longer welcome in the United States. And Donald Trump said, I'm going to do you a solid. I'm going to give you a ride home. And the left are losing their minds over this. Do they expect that anybody and everybody in the world should be able to just migrate into the United States, whether that's legally or illegally? Doesn't matter, and be able to stay? Is that the argument here? Good luck in the midterms if you're going to go with that policy position, for crying out loud, because that is insanity. It really is. And most Americans agree with me on that. Now, they might not agree to the same degree that I feel about immigration. You know, I think we should step up, ramp up legal immigration, but every single illegal immigrant that is currently sitting in this country should be deported outright. That is just how I feel, folks. I don't think like a lot of them, sure, if they want to come back, they can come back. I don't care about that. Do it the legal way. Do it through the legal means. Even if they're in the country now. How about you go and apply for a visa, apply for citizenship, do something. Instead of just remaining in the same situation, being in the country illegally. It's absurd. It really is. But let's keep going. This is what American justice looks like, Attorney General Pam Bondi said Friday in announcing the return of Abrego Garcia and the criminal charges. I love this. The charges stem from a 2022 vehicle stop in which the Tennessee Highway Patrol suspected him of human trafficking. A report released by the Department of Homeland Security in April states that none of the people in the vehicle had luggage, while they listed the same address as Abrego Garcia. Fascinating, that is. Abrego Garcia was never charged with a crime, while the officers allowed him to drive on with only a warning about an expired driver's license, according to the DHS report. The report said he was traveling from Texas to Maryland via Missouri to bring in people to perform construction work. Yes, you cannot. I repeat, you cannot haul a bunch of illegal immigrants to construction sites, for crying out loud. That is called human trafficking. You're illegal. Like, they added a seat into that, I think it was a Tahoe or a Suburban, one of the two, GMC or Chevy. I have no idea because we can't really see in the video, but they added a fourth row, as a matter of fact, into that vehicle to haul more people. And like I always say, I work in construction, folks. I see Mexicans or, Latinos, whatever you want to call them. Most of them are from Mexico, so we'll call them mostly Mexicans, but, of Latino descent. Those people, they show up, sometimes 4 and 5 to a vehicle, but they always have tools. And if they're traveling, right, their luggage may be in a hotel, but they don't show up to a job site with luggage. But if they are traveling, don't you think they need to have some luggage? They had no luggage. That van or Suburban was completely full of people. No luggage at all. No tools. Nothing like that. It was just people. He was hauling these people. He was smuggling humans. In response to the reports released in April, Abrego Garcia's wife said in a statement that he sometimes transported groups of workers between job sites, so it's entirely plausible he would have been pulled over while driving with others in the vehicle. He was not charged with any crime or cited for any wrongdoing. Does that matter, corporate press? No, it doesn't matter. Apparently, he is being suspected of committing crimes just because they did not detain him at the time. Doesn't mean he didn't commit a crime. The Trump administration has been publicizing Abrego Garcia's interactions with police over the years. See, once again, Manipulation 101, folks. The Trump administration has not been publicizing anything. You guys in the corporate press have been publicizing this. You have been screaming at the top of your lungs. He's a Maryland father that was mistakenly deported. He didn't commit any crimes. He was never suspected of lies. They're all lies. These people are the ones publicizing this guy's dashes across the country, for crying out loud. All of his behind-the-scenes antics, if you will. It's not the Trump administration. The Trump administration just gathered evidence from the Tennessee Highway Patrol. Somebody else publicized that in the corporate press. It's not the Trump administration. These people are nuts, y'all. Everything they do is manipulation. While it faces despite a lack of corresponding criminal charges. Once again, what do you mean, despite a lack of corresponding criminal charges? Like, what are you trying to say? Oh, he hasn't committed a crime? Do you think that matters? This is how it goes, corporate press, by the way. You know, if you're not caught doing the crime when it happens and evidence surfaces of said crime, then hang on, that evidence comes to light, and then investigators see that evidence, and then they go and arrest somebody. Then they investigate, and then you're charged criminally. That doesn't work in reverse, by the way. You can't get charged with a crime before you've committed the crime. So I don't know what they're trying to get at here. No corresponding crime? What are you talking about? Trump has been publicizing Abrego Garcia's interactions with police over the years. What do you mean over the years? I only know of one such interaction. And what do you mean? That's just months ago. Do you mean Abrego Garcia's interactions over the years that he's been in the United States? Despite a lack of corresponding criminal charges. Do you think that matters? I mean, Epstein was committing crimes for years before he got caught. They're just insane, y'all. They really are. They're trying to manipulate you. While it faces federal court orders and calls from some in Congress to return him to the U.S. You gotta love that. Authorities in Tennessee released a video of a 2022 traffic stop last month. The body camera footage shows a calm and friendly exchange between officers with the Tennessee Highway Patrol. No, it seemed like he was nervous. I watched that video. As a matter of fact, I aired that video on this channel. Go check it out, by the way. I would recommend you go watch all of my videos, but since they kind of number in the thousands at this point, I think it's like 1,300 or 1,400 videos, which is a lot. I've only been on here less than 2 years, something like that. That's a lot of videos, don't you think? Officers then discussed among themselves their suspicions of human trafficking because 9 people were traveling without luggage. One of the officers said, he's hauling these people for money. Another said he had $1,400 in an envelope. What does that sound like to you guys? I know that's speculative and conclusory, but I mean, what else are you to draw but conclusions from that set of circumstances, y'all? Like, seriously. An attorney for Abrego Garcia, Simon Sandoval Mossenberg, said in a statement after the footage's release in May that he saw no evidence of a crime in the released footage. Oh, yeah. Oh, it's just a group of guys being transported across the country. Hang on just a second. Did you not know, my guy, that it is illegal to transport criminal aliens across the country? That is a crime, by the way. I think it falls under 8 USC 1326, maybe? It could, for sure. That's aiding and abetting criminal aliens. I'm sure there's other statutes that I could ramble off right quick that I don't know off the top of my head, but I'm sure there's other statutes that we could charge this guy with, but, it is what it is. Those are crimes, by the way. And if you are aiding and abetting a criminal alien, that is a crime, my guy. Of course, the defense attorney, he's got to say, oh, he's not guilty. He's not going to come out and say that he's guilty. Like, seriously, like, why do they even bother with statements from the defense? It is what it is. The move comes days after the Trump administration complied with a court order to return a Guatemalan man deported to Mexico despite his fears of being harmed there. So what? Like, that never made any sense. We covered that article as well. And what do you mean, despite fears? Oh, I fear for my life. You know what? He could lose his life in the United States due to an accident, due to pissing somebody off. I mean, there's all kind of different situations I could throw out. That's not an excuse for entering this country illegally and then petitioning our judiciary system for you to stay here. It's insane. It really is. They're going to drive me nuts. The man, identified in court papers as OCG, was the first person known to have been returned to U.S. custody after deportation since the start of President Donald Trump's second term, which makes this even more insane. What administration in U.S. history has ever been forced to return somebody that was deported? Did they do this for Joe Biden? No, they didn't. Did they do this for Trump number one, Trump 1.0? No, they didn't. Did they do this for Obama 1.0 or 2.0? No, they didn't. No, you can go back to every president in U.S. history. Donald Trump is the only one that the Article 3 of the Constitution, that entire sector just about, is making Donald Trump return people that were deported. That is actively blocking the administration from carrying out its constitutional duties. That is insane. Like I said, folks, the left have gone psychotic. And who is it that's stopping the administration? You might think, oh, well, maybe Congress or something. No, it's non-governmental organizations and labor unions and the criminal aliens themselves. Nationwide injunctions, folks. Makes no sense, but I think the Senate and Congress is about to be working these things out, and they're going to be found unconstitutional, and they're not going to be allowed to issue nationwide injunctions anymore, and we return us back to constitutionality in this land. It's going to be great, folks. The Trump administration is making so many gains right now in the court system and just in the economy and all over the damn place. His presidency is turning out to be the best presidency ever. Ever. As a matter of fact, because we have gone so far astray from constitutionality under the Biden administration that we've lost our minds in this country, folks. And Donald Trump is busting some heads trying to get us back to some semblance of normality. But I think that's all I got on this one, folks. We're talking about immigration again on my next video. It's another fascinating. Once again, the Article 3 powers are overstepping their bounds. So y'all make sure and gear up for that. That one will be dropping at 9 o'clock in the morning. So y'all make sure and stay tuned. Y'all smash that like button for me. Subscribe if you like what you had to hear. And share this video, as a matter of fact, if you could, anywhere and everywhere you can. And if you would be so inclined, I would be greatly appreciated, because I need your help, y'all. Sign up, become a member, help me deliver this news to you guys. Help me push back against the YouTube algorithm and all that stuff so we can actually get the news out there. But y'all sign up, y'all do all that good stuff, and y'all try to have a good day. Stay legitical. Peace.